Hi, everybody. Um, so today I wanted to talk about player buy-in. I've been thinking about that a little bit today, how to create or like how I create like uh, an experience that's fulfilling for my players and that they're going to be interested in interacting with in terms of the world. Um, a lot of, let's see, so what's useful is to know what they want and what they're after. When they create a character, what is that character driven by? Are they driven by revenge? Are they driven by self-expression? Are they driven by like achievement? Um, are they driven by uh, like more humanitarian, like love? Um, um, are they driven by the need to be right? Um, a lot of what players come up with intuitively when they create their character is what we have to work with. Maybe it's knowledge that they want or understanding. So I'll usually look at that first and see what they're interested in, like achieving long term. What are their dreams and desires for a given character? And then I'll put them in the world, and I'll look at the material that I have. I usually work with a book, a published adventure. Um, and those have a ton of material, just a ton. I don't really write my own. You certainly can. Um, so so I'll look at the work and I'll look through it and I'll go through all the details and I'll do my best to find what lines up with those goals and who they are. And by who they are, I mean like what groups they might be affiliated with, or what larger parts of society are they a part of, and what are the goals of that society, and how would that society make use of someone like them. Um, for example, if they're a cleric who wants to do good, and they're empathetic and they're motivated by love, I could have a superior who recognizes that in them and then send them on a mission that promotes those goals. Finding someone who's been oppressed or is in danger and sending the character down that path. And seeing and doing it in the most specific way possible given the world that I have. So adding as many details as I can to help them in terms of solving the overall problem of, say, bringing a people back to life, or saving a society that's being eaten up by some sort of like moral injustice. So that way they can be agents of change in the world if that's what they're after. And usually I'll look kind of how long I expect a quest like that to take, maybe 4 levels, 5 levels, 10 levels, 1 level. Um, and I'll give them as much information as I can to get them started on that quest and give them a good sense of direction to focus on. So if it's to kill someone, very specific for a group, I would give them enough to go on in terms of where that person can be found and who they are, and enough information about what that person is capable of, what kind of defenses they might have, or what sort of an approach might work with them, so that the player has something to go on. Or if it's the affliction thing, it would be like, what exactly does the church see as the affliction that's hurting the society? Is it greed? Is it slavery? Is it like a sense of self-righteousness that's maybe corrupt? And I'll try and put a locus on like an individual or a group that might be responsible for that, um, so that the player has like a direction. And then I do my best to drop different plot hooks for each player so that there's some tension about which way do we go, what's the highest priority, and then it's up to that one player in the group to say, like, look, this is something that if we handle this now, not only will it solve my goals, but it might get us farther in terms of pursuing your goals. So if we cure this society, we can get a lot of allies in here and a lot of information. People are going to be very willing to talk to us, and then maybe we can get some info on this person that you're out to kill, and we can get we can get resources, we can get aid, we can get information, and we can just get stronger on the way there. so that we are prepared to tackle that problem. And then depending on which problems they approach first, which is always an interesting question to me, a lot of factors determine that in terms of like what's in their way and what they want to tackle first. Um, I'll I'll tailor the adventure, the difficulty level as best I can, so that um, it meets their abilities. Um, it's just not fun to go into a situation where the problem is too easily solved or where it's unsolvable. Um, so with the city situation, if it was a big challenge, I would make sure that there were enough steps in the way of of curing the city, such that they would overcome smaller problems on the way. Uh, for example, getting to the city or winning the trust of low-level bureaucrats or something like that through various tasks that might potentially be allied with them in the future. Um, and and like giving them direction towards that goal of ultimately, saving the people there. So that's generally what I use to write, and then it's specific for every campaign. I just make sure that they have as much information as possible and that they have a guidance system about where they're supposed to go. Um, and then I really do my best to let them handle the problems. The more creative solutions that they're able to come up with, the more interesting it is for everybody. And the more they feel that they really are the ones taking on these problems, which is my goal, is that I present a situation to them that maybe I'm not sure how they're going to solve it, or I might have some ideas, and I won't be entirely sure the specifics of it until they meet it head on, which is something that I really enjoy doing. I love seeing it when people surprise me and they meet the problems that I'm putting in front of them with like boldness and the ability to follow their desires and to stick to what matters to them and not be swayed by people, because as they go on, I'll usually throw hard people at them, people who are strongly opposed to them and who might rile them up and intentionally provoke them in a lot of situations. So, or who will want to draw them out into open conflict and make them look like the bad guys. So so I kind of test the waters with them usually, and I'll throw someone at them who is going to provoke them, who's going to talk down to them, or who's going to be a blatant obstruction to them in a way that's mean spirited, usually that's angry, that's contemptuous, and put that in their way so that they really do have to stick to their guns, and they have to figure out how to work around not just monsters that they can kill or puzzles that they can solve, but people that maybe they can't kill because there would be consequences. Or they can't kill without enough evidence, or they can't bring to trial, or whatever they're trying to, however they want to solve the problem of the person. Because relationship is a great place to deal with the gray area of conflict, to deal with winning over hearts and minds. Which is something I really look for in my players, being able to kind of enroll me in their goals and to bring their values into question. Do you value money and power? Is that really what you're after? And if so, why? What do you want the money for? And are you more allied to maybe your nation, or are you more allied to like the goodwill of humanity in general? Or you what is your strongest like alignment? Are you more pulled towards the good of the environment, and that there should be a natural balance? Um, and I'll usually have other characters that are either working against them or that are just very powerful in the world, who do represent those values really strongly. Either like a nationalistic value is a good one, or an environmentalist. You can really do it with anything. Just find a character who is willing to go to great lengths and is already sort of enrolled in their own quest for power or wealth or whatever. And then those people can be people that the players interact with, and maybe make enemies of, or make friends of, or maybe a little bit of both. Maybe their own values start coming into question of, is my nationalism getting in the way of my humanitarian uh, goals? Am I finding that I don't actually have as much allegiance to country when I'm out here in the middle of the jungle? Or maybe I've sworn to defend my land, and here I am fighting these people who are doing the same thing, and maybe we have something in common. Um, so bringing up those gray areas and getting my players to confront people with different value systems, I think, is really fun. It's really educational for everybody, and it teaches us how to negotiate really well. I'm sure to be like a powerful politician in the real world, you have a bunch of options for doing it, and one of them is to learn how to meet other people's needs such that our needs are met, which is my preferred tactic. The other thing you could do is try to box out people who don't meet your needs and alienate them. And there really are a lot of ways to go about tackling like the larger things. So just having a big bad evil guy who's really powerful and clearly an enemy isn't always the most interesting choice. And if I do have someone like that in my world, I do my best to make them as absolutely ruthless and dangerous as possible, so that, or give them a thing like they like to toy with people, so that so that it's clear that even though we're tackling this head on and we really are going to confront them, um, our means of confronting them has to be, we have to really decide how we want to stop them and what tactics they might use against us. Um, so that's some of how I develop, generally speaking, um, what what entities exist in my world, and how I get people on quest lines, and how I get people involved in the world, involved in solving the problems that exist in it, and uh, like mm, fighting for who they are, or what they care about, or what they want to see the world become. So yeah, that's my bit today. Thank you so much for watching. It's early in the morning, but I just finished a graveyard shift, so I think I'm going to go to sleep. Um, as always, hit the like button and let me know if anything was helpful or interesting to you. This is Josh, signing out. See ya.